There's a new study that says female hormones may be at least partly responsible for making men fat. As soon as I saw the headline, I said I have to explore what's going on here. This is researchers from the University of Adelaide who believe that exposure to estrogen might be fueling the male obesity epidemic in the United States. You might say, well, how are men being exposed to estrogen? And experts explain that there's actually estrogen in substances that are found in affluent societies like soy products, as well as plastics, which contain the female sex hormone. And the study was looking at gross domestic product and obesity rates among men and women worldwide. And they found that in developing countries, it was far more common for women to have significantly higher rates of obesity than men. But that when you look at the Western world, the obesity rates between men and women seem to be much more equal, and thus the hypothesis that it could be those soy and plastic products that contain estrogen that are more prevalent in the Western world that could be making men more overweight. There are so many problems with this study, however. So number one, prior studies don't find this link. There's one from the Journal of Clinical Oncology which doesn't show this correlation. And even if it did, as we know, correlation is not causation. The study did not actually measure estrogen. It merely said these products are more common in more affluent societies. Therefore, maybe that's the reason why we see obesity rates more equal between men and women in those societies. So, Lewis, at first glance, I found the title of the study very titillating, but upon a cursory review, I don't really see any evidence that there's causation here.
Right. I will add that it is interesting that in the normal ways we treat water, filter water, and process water, I believe, people can correct me if I'm wrong, that we are unable to remove hormones from water. And that when you go to the tap, you are actually, there's a chance that you are consuming some of this stuff. But
conceptually,
still,
what you're saying is true. It just wasn't measured in the study, and that's what we really need to do.
That's it. I mean, how can you make this determination if you're not studying, actually checking the levels of estrogen?
The other issue, of course, is that we do have evidence that calorie-dense diets with high sugar content and a sedentary lifestyle will be a big equalizer in making men as obese as women. And that to me seems, again, having only correlations to look at, that seems to be like a much more relevant place to explore. Interesting study. I just don't know that it really tells us much of anything.